Hello, it is Sarah, and I am here with just a quick back to school tip. I absolutely love the back to school time. I always say it's better than Christmas, the excitement that's in the air, the setting up the classrooms, the getting to see our students who we missed so dearly, all of it is just so much fun. However, we also know it can be a little difficult with all the transitions. It can be difficult for our students and it can be difficult for the adults too. So I just want to share a couple of quick tips that worked for me every single year. It was always a part of my back to school routine when I worked with my students to teach expectations. So, when we talked about our expectations for the school year, there were a couple of tools I always used. The first were two of our yoga postures, but I used them in a way that helped us learn our expectations in the classroom. The first one's just our basic mountain pose. So, if you're familiar with mountain pose, essentially, that's just when our feet are straight, our arms are down, we're standing up tall, our shoulders are back. Now, when I stand in this mountain pose, what does that make you think of? When do you want your students to look like that? Well, if you thought of like maybe when you're lining up, maybe when you're walking out to recess, maybe in between classes, that sort of thing, well, that's when I used it. I used this for any time students were transitioning, maybe out of my classroom to a different location. I would simply say, class, it's time to line up. Let's see those mountains. And then I would wait until all of them were in those mountain poses. This is a really centering pose. It helps us anchor. We always call this our home base. We can always come back to here no matter what else we're doing. So it's a really good pose to use as we're doing those transitions, that lineup time. Now, of course, you could just say, class, I need you to line up. But I found students really liked it when I used these small moments to remind them of some of their mindfulness tools. And it also made it more positive. When they heard mountain, they really associated that with fun, interactive times in our classroom, not so much, guys, it's time to line up. Let's get lined up. So it just added that positive spin. Students liked it. I liked it. It also gave us a reminder of that importance of being grounded. Now, similarly, I used a sitting mountain pose when my students were needing to get settled into their seated position. So again, this is really a focusing, a centering posture, pretty basic, but our back is straight, our shoulders are back, and we're in that seated posture in a seat. Typically, this is used in a chair. However, I also used it with my younger students when they would come to the carpet, maybe for a story or an activity of sorts. I would remind them, all right, class, it's time to come to the floor. Let's see if we can get all of our seated mountains on the floor and ready to go for the lesson. Again, same as that traditional standing mountain pose. It was pretty much the same thing as them just seated on the carpet, crisscross, maybe something we've said in the past. But for me, that sitting mountain pose reminded them to really have that strong core, their shoulders back, to be grounded into whatever surface they're sitting on. And again, brings them back to that home base, which is a great place to start. Again, I loved that idea of just being a little more positive, tying it a little bit to those yoga postures and mindfulness moments that we implement in our classroom anyway. Great for transitions, really helped and really started our year off on a positive and mindful way. So we loved that. So feel free to use those in your classroom. Again, the standing mountain and the sitting mountain, depending on if you are heading out of the classroom or if you're getting settled in for your lesson. Two more tools I want to share with you that I love to teach right at the beginning of the year. The next is our breathing ball. You might be familiar with this tool if you've gone through any of our trainings. We love our breathing ball because it works. I think this is one of the easiest and most impactful tools we can have in a classroom. You can use it in quite a few different ways. But how I introduce it at the beginning of the school year is just as tool to remind us to take those big, deep, long breaths. So I would always teach it to students. We usually do some sort of fun activity to learn it. But the point is just to help them understand that this is a tool to help them with their breathing. So you can just as easy as breathe in and out. And the breathing ball helps them make sure they take it slow and really mindfully. Another great tool. As the school year goes on, you can introduce the breathing ball in other ways, but I recommend starting off with just that simple way of breathing in and breathing out when students need that extra moment to center, to calm their bodies, and then to carry on with the rest of their school day. The other tool I always introduce, usually on the first day of school, right off the bat, is my chime. The chime is a wonderful tool for classroom management and to help our students center and just start the day or the lesson or whatever it is you're about to do in a positive yet grounded and meaningful way. So, what I typically use the chime for, especially at the beginning of the year, is as my tool to bring the class together and quiet the class. So I introduce it when we're teaching expectations. When I teach that mountain pose and that sitting mountain pose, I also teach that they will know when it's time to quiet down and settle down when they hear my chime. So we practice, we usually play some games, do some activities to learn it, but mostly what I want their takeaway to be is that when they hear this, they have until that chime ends to get seated, get quiet, and get ready for our next activity. Again, this keeps me from ever having to raise my voice, ever having to say, all right, we've got to be quiet, or, trying to yell over other students. This tool is not only wonderful for students, but it helped my sanity a ton. So it allows us to really bring the class together in a more mindful, more positive way. So another great tool that I really recommend introducing right from the start. Let's start these school years out positively in a way that is really beneficial for all of us. So we want this school year to be full of taking care of one another, taking care of our students, but making sure we're taking care of us as well. And I really think you'll see that those 4 quick back to school tips will help you on your journey as well. I'd love to hear from you. If you use any of these, let me know, and let me know how you use them in your classroom or your school. If you don't have any of these tools and you're interested in adding them to your school supplies, to your tools that you have for students, we have the Classroom's Essential Kit that includes all of the items I just showed you, or you can buy them individually or whatever you need to meet the needs of you and your students. The QR code that is located there takes you straight to that Classroom Essentials Kit if it would help. But otherwise, good luck. I wish you the best and happy back to school. Like I said, it's the best time of the year. Happier than Christmas, I think. So enjoy it. Enjoy every moment. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.